Get ready to meet one of the worst, scariest, most deranged guys in the U.S. right now. His name is Byron Smith, and he's being charged with first-degree premeditated murder in the deaths of 18-year-old Haile Kifer and 17-year-old Nick Brady. Now, the crimes, which he almost certainly is guilty of, are bad enough, but when you hear about how it actually happened, it's one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. Now, the crimes happened on Thanksgiving Day in 2012. Leading up to that point, Byron Smith says his house had been broken into multiple times, and so he was scared for his life. That's what he says. Rather than getting the police involved, getting an alarm or something like that, he moved his truck away from his house and then went down into his basement. We've got a description of what happened there. He's down in the basement in a chair, tucked between two bookcases at the bottom of the stairs. He said he was down there reading a book with his Mini 14, a 22 caliber revolver, some energy bars, and a bottle of water. So he's got a rifle, he's got a revolver, and he's got like provisions basically. And bear in mind that during this time he had set up a tape recorder of which we had 6 hours of footage was played in the court. One of the things he said, among many horrendous comments on that tape, is, "I don't see them as human, I see them as vermin." And then finally, Haile and Nikki arrive and break into his home. Nick walks down into the basement, and on the tape you can hear a total of 3 shots fired, and Mr. Smith can be heard saying, "You're dead." The criminal complaint says Mr. Smith then dragged Mr. Brady's body on a tarp and dragged it into another room, then sat down and reloaded his weapon. So he hid the body and then reloaded his gun. Shortly thereafter, Haile goes down into the basement. More shots are fired. Ms. Kifer screams. Then Mr. Smith says, "You're dying." He says he called her bitch twice. Another shot was heard soon after. In a statement to investigators, he called it a finishing shot, and specifically, he finished off Haile with a shot under her chin because the 22 caliber rifle doesn't go through bone very well. Now, there's also some things that he said during the trial and afterward that show that he is an incredibly deranged person. Thankfully, he is being charged. He's almost surely going to be found guilty and will spend the rest of his life in jail.
So now a lot of people will say, hey, wait a minute, this guy's defending his home, right? And I guarantee you there's a lot of people in that camp, right? Mm-hmm. And in fact, Nick Brady had broken into his house several times, at least twice before. That's court records indicate that. So I would be very frustrated with Nick Brady as well. I wouldn't have executed him. That's a different situation. And remember, these are kids. Now, it doesn't give them the right to break into people's house. And if they broke into my house, I'd be really pissed. And if they broke into your house in the middle of the night and you didn't know and you reacted in the middle of the night, also understandable, right? And probably within the bounds of the law. Yeah. It's another thing to lay and wait for them. And then to me, the two things that are absolutely clear as to why this is murder is, one, he does the finishing shot on her, right? He looks at her and says, "You're dying, bitch." And then he shoots her again to finish her, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, she was unarmed, by the way. Obviously, he didn't have to shoot her.
He was unarmed, too.
No. Yeah, both of the teens did not have
both the teens were.
Yeah. Right. And then the second thing is, if you weren't convinced yet, he waited a day before he called the authorities after he killed him.
Right, because it was Thanksgiving, and he said just because my Thanksgiving was ruined, he didn't want to ruin yours, meaning the officers who would have to come respond to this.
Right, and he also says, I was doing my civic duty. I had to do it. So this is clearly premeditated. He decided not to go to the police. He decided to actually install surveillance cameras so that he could see when they were going to enter his house. So clearly, he felt like he was doing the right thing. That's what, to me, indicates that this person has a serious mental issue. It's not somebody who just reacted, right, in an act of rage or passion. The other thing, too, is I feel like these stories keep cropping up more and more in the news. And I think it's because we have laws that permit this. We have stand your ground laws. We permit people to, shoot others and defend themselves with violence, with even death, right? Killing the others. And it's completely legal. And I think that's the issue here, that people feel like they're sort of immune to the criminal system now.
Yeah. So I agree with both of those things. And so this guy is clearly mental. In the tape, you hear heavy breathing throughout. He starts talking to himself. This guy's got a lot of issues.
For hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, but at the same time, he's an extreme example of people who can't wait to use their guns.
Yeah, George Zimmerman.
Yeah, and they've got the guns.
Although George Zimmerman is a pretty extreme case of that, too.
Right, because he also was in some ways waiting for someone.
Completely waiting, and he couldn't wait to do it. Couldn't wait to wanted to be a cop, wanted to use that gun, wanted to shoot somebody, got his chance, killed a kid.
And to Lissette's point, here's a guy who thinks, well, I'm in my house, it's my domain, you know, I got every right. And that's why he freely talked to the cops in the beginning. He's telling them, oh, yeah, I did this, I did that. Because in his mind, he's like, they came into my house, so I get to execute them.
Yeah.
No, but you don't get to execute them. That's not how it works. And if you thought your life was in danger, then okay, yes, then you do get to shoot, right, to protect yourself. But you don't get to set a trap for them, and you don't get to finish them off when they're defenseless and bleeding.
Yeah, hiding the car, encouraging them through that to break in, and then hiding the body halfway through. And to say that he thought his life was in danger when the unarmed 18-year-old girl is dying on the floor of his basement, he still thinks his life is in danger, supposedly, so he has to put his gun up against her chin and finish her off. I mean he's a psycho, and I'm glad that you brought up both stand your ground, but also the castle doctrine. I mean, I come through Texas, and that's totally, you can do basically anything you want in Texas. And what it's led to is somebody who steals a TV. They gun them down and shoot them in the back as they're running, out of their yard. Like, is that the world that we want to live in? Is that what it takes for you to feel safe? I think it's fucking ridiculous. I don't think that people like this should be able to have guns. I know it's crazy to say in America today.
You know what's worse than stealing a TV? Shooting someone in the back and killing them.
Yeah.
And so that is not, we would never execute someone for stealing a TV if they went through the criminal justice system. Yeah. But that's not why they do it. It's because they get off on it. They're like, I'm going to get one. He broke in 3 different times. She's his cousin, and they played sports, yada, yada, but still, and they look like all American kids, yada, yada. But they did break in. What they did was wrong. You don't get to execute them for it. You don't, and what you do there is much worse. But I think all comes down to the same thing. They've got that gun, and they're looking for that one time where they get to play the guy from the movie, like, oh, you mess with the wrong guy. Ha ha, you take my TV, I'm going to murder you. Ha ha ha, right? And so that's basically what happened here. And yes, he murdered him, and I hope to God he spends the rest of his time on this earth in jail.
Also, we don't, he said she was dying to her. We don't know. She might have been fine. She might have recovered.
Yeah. No, but to that point, I would say that shows how much more guilty he is. If I'm on the jury and this guy's on tape is saying to her, you're dying, bitch, and then shoots her.
He's not looking to protect himself. He's looking to kill someone.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
A completely different
I'm
story.
curious
so his argument falls short.